Here's something that will completely change the way you read women forever. Most men spend years chasing the wrong signals. They're looking for obvious flirting, obvious hints, obvious eye contact, and they miss the one thing that actually matters most: emotional attraction. Because here's the truth that nobody talks about: a woman can be physically attracted to 100 men, but emotionally attracted to almost none of them. And the man she becomes emotionally attracted to, that's the man she actually wants. That's the man she texts at 2 a.m. That's the man she compares every other guy to. So the question isn't whether she finds you good looking. The real question is, has she become emotionally attached to you? And the answer is already in her behavior. You just haven't known what to look for until now. Let me tell you about something that baffled researchers for years. In a massive study conducted by relationship psychologist Dr. Sue Johnson, the woman behind emotionally focused therapy, she found that emotional connection, not physical attraction, is the primary driver of long-term romantic bonding in women. In other words, women are wired differently than men when it comes to attraction. For a man, physical attraction can happen in seconds. For a woman, emotional attraction builds slowly. But when it hits like a freight train. And the fascinating part, women often don't even realize they're emotionally attracted to someone until certain behaviors start slipping out. These aren't behaviors they plan. They're not rehearsed, they're not conscious, they're automatic little psychological leaks that reveal exactly what's happening inside her heart. This is absolutely wild when you think about it. She might not have told you she has feelings for you. She might not even have told herself, but her behavior already knows the truth. Today, we're going to go through 6 of these behavioral signals rooted in real psychology, not guesswork, that tell you she is emotionally attracted to you. And stay with me until sign number 4, because that one is the most misunderstood signal in the entire history of male-female relationships. Most men actually misread it as a negative sign. That mistake has cost men some of the most incredible women they ever could have had. Let's get into it. Here is something that hit differently when I first came across it in psychology research. The human brain, under normal circumstances, is extraordinarily selective about what it stores in long-term memory. According to cognitive neuroscience, we remember things that carry emotional weight. Our brains tag memories with emotion and store them. If something didn't matter to us emotionally, our brain essentially throws it in the trash. So when a woman remembers, and I mean actually remembers, that you mentioned your grandmother's cooking 3 conversations ago, or that you said you prefer your coffee a specific way, or that last Tuesday you seemed a little off and she brings it up before you even do, that is not coincidence. That is not politeness. That is her brain operating on emotional overdrive when it comes to you. Think about it from your own experience. Do you remember the eye color of your mail carrier? Probably not. Do you remember the eye color of someone you had a massive crush on in school? Down to the exact shade, right? Memory follows emotion, always. When she remembers small, insignificant things you said, your pet's name, the name of your childhood best friend, the fact that you once mentioned a movie you wanted to watch, she is literally showing you that her brain has filed you under the category of emotionally important. And that is one of the most revealing signs in all of female psychology. Here's the test. Next time you're talking to her, casually mention something small and seemingly forgettable. A random preference, a minor story, a passing comment about something you used to do as a kid, then wait. If she brings it up later, unprompted, you already have your answer. Now, this one surprises people every single time, so pay close attention. Most people assume that a woman who is attracted to you will always try to look her best around you, act her most charming self, and keep her emotional mess hidden behind a pretty exterior. And yes, in the early stages, that's true. But here's where it gets fascinating. Brené Brown, research professor, best-selling author, and the leading voice on vulnerability and human connection, spent years studying what actually builds emotional intimacy between two people. Her conclusion? Vulnerability, real uncomfortable, messy vulnerability. And women who are generally more emotionally intelligent than men by most psychological measures understand this instinctively. So when a woman starts letting you see the not so pretty parts of her emotional world, when she admits she's struggling, when she cries in front of you, when she tells you she's scared about something, when she vents to you about her real frustrations rather than just giving you the highlight reel of her life, that is not weakness. That is trust, enormous trust. Because here's what she is risking in that moment. She is risking your judgment. She is risking looking too emotional or too complicated. She is risking making herself vulnerable to someone whose opinion she genuinely cares about. Women do not do this with men they are indifferent toward. She saves those ugly, honest, unfiltered emotional moments for the people she is deeply connected to. And if you're one of those people, she has emotionally attached herself to you in a way she hasn't with most other men in her life. This is genuinely one of the most beautiful signs, but also the most commonly misread. When she gets emotional around you, men sometimes think, oh no, she's a lot to handle. No, she chose you as the person safe enough to handle her. That's not a burden, that's an honor. Let me paint a very specific situation for you. She sends you a meme. No context, no explanation, just a meme. Maybe a funny video, maybe a song she heard. No how are you, no question that needs an answer, just this thing she thought of and immediately thought of you. On the surface, this looks like nothing. A 2-second interaction, practically meaningless. It is not meaningless. Psychologists who study attachment behavior call this bid making, a term developed by Dr. John Gottman, one of the world's leading relationship researchers, whose work at the Love Lab in Seattle has predicted divorce with 94% accuracy. A bid is any small gesture made toward another person seeking connection. And what Gottman found is that bid making, particularly who initiates it and how often, is one of the strongest predictors of emotional attachment. When she texts you that meme, she experienced something, a moment, a laugh, a feeling, and before she even consciously processed it, her brain sent her to your contact. That is automatic. That is not strategic. That is pure psychological association. Her good moments are linked to you, and it goes beyond memes. Does she tag you in random posts? Does she call you without a specific agenda? Does she bring you up in conversations with other people? Oh, he actually told me something interesting about this. Does she reach out when something good happens to her, not just when she needs advice? Each of these is a bid, and every bid tells you the same story. In her emotional world, you occupy space, important space, the kind of space she keeps returning to without even deciding to. All right, this is the one I warned you about at the beginning, and I genuinely believe this might be the most important thing you hear today. She tests you, not because she's playing games, not because she's toxic, but because emotionally, she cannot afford to be wrong about you. Here's the psychology behind this. Women are wired, evolutionarily and emotionally, to protect themselves from emotional harm. The deeper a woman begins to feel for someone, the higher the emotional stakes become for her. And the higher the stakes, the more her subconscious pushes her to verify. Is this person actually trustworthy? Will they stay? Will they disappoint me if I fall for them fully? This is where the testing behavior comes from, and it comes in subtle forms that men almost universally misinterpret. She might suddenly pull back and become a little less available to see if you'll chase anxiously or remain calm and secure. She might share a slightly controversial opinion to see if you'll fold under pressure or stand your ground respectfully. She might cancel a plan to see how you respond. Will you get passive aggressive, or will you handle it like someone emotionally mature? She might even start a minor conflict about something that seems trivial, because conflict reveals character in a way that smooth sailing never can. Dr. Amir Levine, a Columbia University psychiatrist and co-author of the landmark book Attached, explains that this behavior is a direct result of attachment anxiety, something that activates precisely when emotional investment increases. In other words, she's not testing you because she doesn't like you. She's testing you because she's starting to like you a lot. And here's the brutal irony. The men who fail these tests are usually the ones who don't understand what's happening. They either over-pursue and look anxious, or they pull back in confusion and look uninterested. Both responses confirm her fear that letting herself fall for this person would be a mistake. The men who pass these tests, they stay grounded. They don't panic. They respond with warmth, but without desperation. And in doing so, they communicate something incredibly powerful. I am a safe place for your emotions. That, more than any compliment or grand romantic gesture, is what wins a woman's heart on an emotional level. Now, let's talk about body language, but not the kind of surface level stuff you find in amateur dating articles. This goes deeper. There's a phenomenon that psychologists call mirroring, and its implications for emotional attraction are extraordinary. Mirroring is the unconscious tendency to replicate the posture, movements, speech patterns, and even breathing rhythms of someone we feel connected to. And the operative word there is unconscious. She is not deciding to do this. Her nervous system is doing it because her emotional brain has classified you as someone she wants to be in sync with. Watch for it. If you lean forward, does she lean forward? If you slow your speech down, does her slow down too? If you cross your arms, does she subtly cross hers? These micro adjustments are happening beneath the level of conscious thought, and they are a direct window into emotional attraction. But it's more than just mirroring. Physical guard dropping shows up in other ways too. She stops being so posed around you. Her posture becomes more relaxed. She sits closer than social convention would normally require. She makes physical contact in ways that aren't obviously flirtatious. A hand on your arm while making a point, leaning her shoulder against yours, adjusting something on your shirt. These small physical touches are the body's way of building and maintaining emotional closeness. And one of the most telling signs of all, she stops performing for you. Early in any social interaction, people perform. They manage their impression. They're careful about how they laugh, how they sit, what they say. But when a woman emotionally relaxes around you, the performance stops. She laughs loudly and doesn't apologize for it. She sits, however, is comfortable, not, however, is photogenic. She says exactly what she thinks, even if it's weird or oddly specific or completely nerdy. That unfiltered, unguarded version of her, that's not available to everyone. That's reserved for people she trusts on an emotional level. And if you're seeing it, you're one of them. This final sign is perhaps the quietest of all, but psychologically, it might be the loudest. When a woman is emotionally attracted to you, she starts collapsing the walls between her private inner world and her external life with you. And this happens in ways that are both obvious and subtle. So, let me walk you through both. The obvious version, she introduces you to her close friends. She tells her sister about you. She mentions you to her mother. In female social psychology, the inner circle is sacred. A woman doesn't just casually bring a man into that space. When she does, it's because she has already decided, consciously or not, that you matter enough to be known by the people whose opinion she cares most about. Research from the Social Issues Research Center confirms that for women, social integration, the act of weaving a new relationship into one's existing social network, is a primary marker of serious emotional investment. Men often overlook this entirely. They think, oh, she just introduced me to her friend, as if it's a casual, trivial event. It is not. That introduction is her saying something she hasn't found the words to say yet. Now, here's the subtle version, and this one is absolutely worth your attention. She starts sharing her inner world with you, not just her social world. She tells you about a dream she had, a fear she can't quite explain, a memory from childhood that randomly surfaced. She shows you the music she listens to when she's alone. She tells you what she actually believes about things, not the polished, socially acceptable version of her opinions, but the real, unedited, sometimes uncertain version. She asks you questions that have nothing to do with logistics and everything to do with who you actually are as a person. All of this is her reaching across the emotional distance between two people and saying, in every way except out loud, I want you to know the real me, and I want to know the real you. That is emotional attraction at its most profound. That is attachment forming. And when you recognize it for what it is, it completely changes how you show up in that connection. So let's pull back and look at the full picture. She remembers things you barely remembered saying yourself. She shows you her messy, unfiltered emotions. She finds reasons to reach out that have no practical purpose. She tests you, not to hurt you, but because she's scared of how much she's starting to care. She lets her physical guard drop in ways she doesn't even realize. And she opens the door to her inner world and invites you in. None of these signs are loud. None of them come with a neon on sign that says she likes you. They're quiet, layered, and deeply human. And that's exactly why most men miss them entirely. But here's what I want you to walk away with today. Something that goes beyond just decoding signals. Emotional attraction is not a trick to be triggered. It's not a game to be won. It's a connection that grows when two people show up authentically, consistently, and with genuine interest in each other's inner world. The signs we talked about today aren't just clues that tell you where she stands. They're also a mirror showing you what kind of presence you are bringing into her life. She remembers your small details because you made her feel like those conversations mattered. She shows you her emotions because you've created a space where she feels safe. She tests you because the connection feels important enough to protect. When you understand that emotional attraction is a two-way dance, you stop asking, "Does she like me?" and start asking, "Am I being someone worth being emotionally attracted to?" That shift right there is what separates the men who build extraordinary connections with women from the men who spend years wondering why they keep getting friend-zoned. You now know what most men will never figure out on their own. Now, here's the thing. Knowing the signs of emotional attraction is powerful, but emotional attraction is only one half of the equation. There's another layer to female psychology that most men completely overlook, and it's hiding in plain sight. It's not about emotional depth or long-term connection. It's about something faster, more instinctive, and honestly more surprising. I'm talking about the behavioral signs that a woman displays when she simply, undeniably likes you. The automatic, almost involuntary things her body and behavior do before her brain even catches up. And I put together an entire video on exactly that. It's called "A Woman Who Likes You Will Show These 5 Signs Every Time," Female Psychology. And I have to be honest with you, the fifth sign in that video is something that will make you look back at past interactions with women and think, "Oh my God, I completely missed that." If today's video shifted something in how you see emotional attraction, that video is the next logical step. It's already waiting for you on the end screen. Hit it now because some of that information is the kind you genuinely cannot unknow.